Welcome to TLC for the Soul podcast, where soul meets spirit. You have entered into sacred space. I'm your host, TAMI Chambers, and I'm here to help you shine. Now let's get going on this podcast journey.
A level up.
Hello, friends. Hello, and welcome to A Level Up. I have been, what have I been doing? I don't know. First of all, just let's welcome everybody here, whether you're new, whether you've been with us for a while, whether this topic maybe piqued your interest. Welcome in, no matter where you're watching or listening this, because it gets posted up in many different places. On YouTube, on TLC for the Soul, on the podcast, at any major podcast provider. And if it's short enough, I may be able to post it up on Instagram, but it takes forever to upload a video to Instagram. So here's what we're going to talk about today. Almost daily, not every day. I post like a daily short, post a daily short on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And the past couple of days, we've gotten some kind of advanced topics coming up that you can't expand on in, a 1 minute short. But I do think they're worthy of, for those of you that are interested in more like the inner mystery school teachings, I think they are worthy of doing a little bit of a deep dive on these, on two right now. So I'm going to focus on two so that we're not sitting here like for long periods of time. Because at the beginning of the month when we did the November energy hangout, one of the things I remember myself kept saying is, you're going to have to suspend disbelief to wrap your head around some of these concepts. And, many of you are ready to take your spiritual practice deeper or expand your knowledge or whatever you want to call it. And I've had thoughts kind of hanging around this month, ever since the beginning of the month, which just is kind of a push for me to get out there and share more of the knowledge and the things that I'm learning or that I'm remembering from past, lives or wherever I was doing similar things. Let's just take a deep breath together. I have elderberry and echinacea tea with honey. Super good. You have to put a lot of honey. It's kind of purple, red. I guess what's the color of an elderberry? That's what color it is. Like a reddish, purplish color. And we're not super serious, so we want to try to bring these teachings in a fun, lighthearted way with real life examples that help you in your daily life, so that it's not so esoteric that you can't, relate to it and what's happening in and around your world. So before I go any further, even though I've kind of already done this, for the sake of our group here, I want to wrap us all in love light and light love, inviting in the guides who overlight TLC for the soul, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, the Pleiadians, and a host of other characters like my giant wisdom salmon. I'll give some ASMR for those of you listening. This giant stuffed salmon that I got a long time ago. I know exactly where I got this. Oh, there's a little bit of like, what is it called? Like a nostalgia energy around right now too when I'm recording this on a couple days after the new moon in Scorpio and heading into next week, Sagittarius energy, Sagittarius sun, and I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, I got this guy in Rancho Cucamonga at the Bass Pro Shops. Lots of interesting memories at that Bass Pro Shops. Anyway, so let's not spend too much time there. We want to talk about two things today. We want to talk about my earth guardians out there, working with the ley lines, the dragon lines. Even if you're not an earth guardian, well, you kind of already are just by the fact that you're here. Listening to me tells me you're a bringer, what I call a bringer of the light. That's my book series, Bringers of the Light. Just a little plug for that. Like, all my ebooks are free to read. I've left a link. Links to everything I talk about are always in the show notes, but I've left a link to my Smashwords publisher, ebook publisher. You can hit that link, or you can go anywhere, Apple Books, Google Books, Barnes and Nobles, and you can download all my ebooks for free. I write fiction and nonfiction, and there's something there for everyone. But Bringers of the Light is one of my longer running series of books, and it's like you, it's like me, it's like us, the light workers, light warriors, spiritual warriors, whatever you want to call yourself. But for those of you that do more advanced work and already have assignments, know what grid lines you're supporting, know that you're going out on the land and you're doing sacred work. Or if you're new and you're like, maybe I do that, just by the fact that you're listening to this podcast or this show, because there's light language coming through. There's so many guides sitting within and around me and on me, like all this jewelry. It's got not people, but it's got spirit friends, kind of energy bound into it or attached to it. So there's lots of spirit friends around, but it may open you up to these concepts even further. It may activate your journey into being an earth guardian or a dragon keeper or mother or father of dragons. I keep talking about that because we work with a lot of dragon energy here. But the first topic is talking about channeling divine blessings to the earth devas and nature devas and weather spirits. And that came out yesterday, so we're going to go into that. And then the topic that came out today was also a little bit more of an advanced topic, which is the daily short was kind of like, if somebody comes at you with fire, you don't go back with fire, you come back with water energy. So countering yang energy with yin energy when there's conflict around. And we could probably sit and do an hours-long show on that, but we're going to touch a little bit and give you a little taste of that and how you can start working with that more in your daily life. If you want to level up what I'm talking about even further, you can call it invoking Christ light, invoking Christ consciousness, and we're going to talk about how that also helps you with releasing karmic loops and karmic relationships. And when I say karmic relationships, let's broaden that, because I know my twin flames instantly go to like, yeah, it's this partner who's, teaching me all these life lessons. It may not necessarily be that. I do work with twin flames a lot. I'm on the twin flame journey, but not everybody is. So I want to broaden these topics a little bit. And if you're a twin flame listening or watching this, you will understand this at a different leveled up vibe or so leveled up consciousness, because you understand things a little bit differently from the twin flame perspective. So slot in meanings and metaphors and things as they fit with you where you're at now. You may not be on a twin flame journey today, but you may get some sort of weird activation you weren't expecting on your journey, and suddenly you realize, oh crap, I am on a twin flame journey. And then, hey, here we are. We're another resource to help you along with that. But we're not talking about twin flames today. Okay, so let's take a deep breath together, just because I can get really excited. I'm not really excited. I'm pretty grounded, but spiritual topics get me excited. Teaching gets me excited, and working with you all. So that's where the exuberance is kind of like doing what you love. Makes you happy. All right. So let's get into topic number 1, which is the earth devas and nature devas. So let me start with the channeling that came through in the daily short. I think it was yesterday that I did that. And I woke up. I'll just give you a little bit of background sometimes of where these shorts come from, because they start kind of the energy of what's going to come out in the daily short kind of starts like an hour or so when I get up. And I went into the bathroom and I was looking out the window, and I can see like my little mini barn from there, where all the birds are at. And I have heat lamps on inside of there because it's getting really cold now at night. Like it got into the 20s, and I see in the forecast coming up like 20s for highs and 10s. So anyway, they have heaters, they have heat lamps. And so if it's not light outside yet, I can see like the red light from their little heat lamps through the windows of the little barn. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw like a flash. And then at the same time that I go into the bathroom, I bring my candle and I lit my candle. And I saw that, if you guys have been with me for a while, you may remember this. We've talked about him several times, and every time he shows up, it's like mischievous, snarky, elemental energy. And I had my wood wick candle, and when I lit it, I saw the owie bowie. And I've talked about him before, but I only see him when things around in the elemental world, in the nature world or whatever, are getting a little mischievous. And I saw him in the candle flame. And the last time I saw him, I just always tell you guys, I'll tell you why, I'll tell you guys, I want the guides to keep you on track, because I don't want to be storytelling, because I need to be storytelling for quite some time too. I want to get to the storytelling and the teaching. That's what we're here for, magic and storytelling. I saw him in the candle flame, and the last time I saw him, I had a couple of days of seeing him, and I was warning you guys, like, I'm seeing Owie Bowie, please be careful, please stay grounded, please stay alert, please put your shields up. And at that point in time, someone I know had a big accident at their work and broke a bunch of bones. And because they weren't really paying attention, but at the same time, I remember that person telling me like, oh, I really don't know what happened. It was almost like someone grabbed my foot and I tripped and fell. And I was like, I'm telling you. So I saw that owie bowie yesterday in the candle flame, and I saw this little spark kind of over by the little barn in the kind of what looked like it was like in the window, like a little spark. And I was like, oh crap, is the barn on fire? I really kind of got worried, and I was like, is the barn on fire? And I started, I had to reel that in, because I was like, of course it's not. There's no reason that it would be. I mean, if it was, it'd be very obvious. This was like a little spark, like a little like hee-hee, like a little mischievous little like hee-hee. And I was like, okay, now I know what's happening. It came out in the cards. And I don't know, a few days back or whatever, Master Co was talking about something very similar. Oh, because Spirit brought me back to the Lahaina, Maui wildfire meditation that Master Co did, that we all participated in for the healing of Lahaina. And getting big chills. And in that video, he talks about the nature spirits not having access to divine energy like the human being does. They're not able to channel in and bring in divine blessings for themselves. It kind of happens more like through osmosis. So for example, if you need divine blessings for yourself, if you need to talk to spirit, if you want to invoke angelic energy or angelic frequencies or Christ light or source, you can use your chakra pillar, your connection to earth, and your soul star chakra, your upper chakras, your heart chakra, to invoke love. It's different for everybody, but you mainly, everybody kind of goes up to the crown with the energy that you're asking when you're asking for help, out through the soul star and up to source energy, up to the angelic and the higher realms. And that's how we contact spirit, and we ask for help, we ask for blessings, we channel blessings when we're doing meditation and we're blessing the earth or anything. We're always going at least the meditations that I do, I'm going into the heart, I'm going up to the crown, I'm invoking and asking for and giving thanks that I am a conduit and a channel of divine energy. And as such, my physical vessel and my connection, my soul connection to source, brings those energies down through the physical vessel, through the chakra pillar, down through the earth star, and I can use them ooh, like a spooky little sound. I can use them through my physical vessel, through healing hands, through Reiki, through light language, through just anything, right? I'm a living crystal as a conduit and a divine channel working on behalf of the light. Oh my God, that sound. It sounds spooky. I don't know. It's like someone sitting in the chair, but there's no one there. Spirit knows I told them I like middle grade spookiness, not jump scare spookiness. Okay, whatever that is, that's weird. So a nature spirit, a weather spirit, a Devic, earthbound angel or whatever, does not have the capabilities to do that. They don't have chakra columns. They don't have soul star chakras. They're a being of consciousness, but they don't fit that human. Baruch, then help me with the technology. God, Archangel Raziel here, help me with the spiritual technology terms. They don't have that human template that works in such a way that they are channeling source energy. So yeah, there. Okay, thank you. I'm like, how do I say this? How do I say what I'm seeing? So Master Co, and this resonates with me, so if it doesn't resonate with you, you can maybe see it a different way, but we'll get into that topic next too, but your opinion of things versus the way spiritual law and spiritual technology works. But as such, when we're working as earth guardians, when we're working with, we say nature devas because the devas are like, kind of like you hear like the fairy king and the fairy queen. They like quote unquote rule over different elemental kingdoms and different earth kingdoms. So if we want to do any work this word just keeps coming in, assuage, ASSUAGE. It keeps bringing me this. I know what it is, but it's just weird to say it. If we want to assuage or temper any mischievous energies, even from an owie bowie, small little elemental flame, or a little, nature spirit that's PO'd, the fact that the world is not, is not being taken care of by the human beings. And wants to reach out and grab your foot and make you shrimp because they're mad, or causes a very traumatic weather incident to occur when that's really not necessary, then we need to start somewhere to start working with these devas. And so we're just going to give some practical guidance on that. Because since they can't say like, Spirit, help me bless everything and help me feel better, they are more reactionary. So if there's like a lot of, I'll just call it snarky energy in the energetic fields around them, I just keep going back to this one where it was like a South Park episode where they had like a smugness cloud, and it was coming from LA, like some award show where everybody was like, oh, I got an Emmy or whatever. And so this big smugness cloud, it was over San Francisco too, like, oh, we're so better than everybody else. But this cloud started, and it kind of started traveling around the globe, affecting everywhere that it went. And it doesn't just affect the humans, it affects all beings, because energy is just energy, but it affects all beings in these areas where it's touched by this. So we did a little journey a while back. I should make a playlist for these type of teachings, but it was Journey to Your Local Weather Spirits. And it's like, if we're not doing this work, who's going to be doing it? Other groups are doing it, and we're here to do our part. But we're being asked to spend time in our meditations helping channel in and send blessings to the elemental devas. And they in turn will help appease the masses, so to speak. So let's just give a good example. Let's say in your area, you're a bringer of the light, but you're like one in 30,000 who are. And so you've got 30,000 other people, not clearing their energy. Maybe the energy in the space around you is not so high vibe, but you've been slotted into work in that area as a bringer of the light by Source, by my Bringers of the Light HQ. So you're there just by you being there. You are bringing in the higher light. I have a feeling this is going to be 2 shows because I could talk about this for a while. So we might break that other topic off, the karma one. But you are there to bring in the higher light in an area. But you're one being, right? You can only do so much. So it behooves you then to make friends or allies with the energy world around you, right? And I think most of you probably do that now, and you work directly maybe with the land, the sacred space in your area. You may have been gifted to be a guardian of a pact of land. Oh yeah, so many chills. It's like you start with a little bit. Maybe you started in an apartment or a condo, and then you moved out, and you were gifted by Source, gifted you with a little bit of land to work with, and then you did really good at that, and then you got leveled up, and you're gifted with like few acres maybe or something, right? But you're also working your light on grid lines, meaning you're helping maintain the efficiency and the high vibeness of the grids and ley lines around you, and maybe you're supporting a grid line that spans quite a few states or small countries. Not everybody's in the U.S. Or territories or whatever you want to call it. Maybe you're up in Canada. We've got Canadian listeners. We've got people in Australia. We've got people all over in Europe, the UK, and the US. So I want to thank all of you so much for being here, and just bear with me as I make sure I'm all inclusive in my what I call everything, without getting all like hyper about it, right? And be relaxed about all that too. Okay, so it behooves you then to make allies with your local spirits, your local weather spirits, your local elemental devas, and so forth. And rather than, like, okay, I'm going to work with every single flower fairy or whatever, in this case, I really feel like the weather spirits and the spirits of the land. So if you want to, you're being asked, like, journey to them more. I think when we did that journey to your local weather spirits, they were like, yeah, we're open to talking to you guys, but no one ever thinks about us. It was kind of the thing. When I did the journey, that was the message I got, was like, hey, yeah, we're open to this. We're open to a partnership, an agreement, forming being allies or whatever, but no one ever thinks of us. No one ever, reaches out. Like very few people probably do. Our indigenous tribes were the ones that were really, really good about that. And so, tap into your indigenous elder vibe or your indigenous medicine man past life, or, Peruvian. That's who this guy is. This ring, if you're listening to the podcast, you can't see it, but it's like a shell ring, like a ring that goes on your finger. It was made like a little, I don't even know what kind of shell, but it was made into a ring. And energetically attached to this ring is a Peruvian merman who's a shaman. And so he's helping me too with this convo. But, maybe it's not land, maybe it's water. But anyway, the gist of it is, how can you form allies to help soothe these spirits? Because they're mad. They're mad, and that they are, because when you go out and you just take a little walk, you see they bring your attention to all the trash and the who knows what else is around that needs to be picked up. If they had hands, they could pick it up and throw it away, or help, land we brought in Fern Gully at the beginning of the month. Our kind of like our she's like our, what is it, like eco-friendly dragon who's here to help with lands that need repairing and rebuilding, lands that have had just stuff ripped out, and so these spirits then are very easily, kind of like my dog, very easily reactive to the energy that's around them. So if we can go in and we can soothe the lands, and we can make friends or allies or partnerships with the local nature and earth and elemental devas, and spread your net out as wide as you're energetically able to. Maybe you're just able to work like in your front yard, in your backyard or something, I don't know where you start. And you leave like a spirit played out. That's very common in indigenous, at least here in the US, like spirit plates. Or if people leave like, offerings for the fairies, that kind of thing. And lift it up to bring in and honor those kingdoms, and you don't have to be like super, what's the word? Like, you don't have to be so eloquent in what you're saying and how you're saying it. It's more the nature of the intent. And that you're offering and helping to soothe the energies of, the nature kingdoms, the elemental kingdoms, your local weather devas and spirits. Say what resonates with you coming out of your mouth, not the way I'm saying it, but how it resonates to you. And make it a point to connect in with them and help them to help themselves. Basically, when you're doing meditation and you're blessing others, you're channeling it, because my meditations are a little different. I don't have time to go through the spiritual technology of them, but the way they work is, first we give energy, we channel energy to people, places, the planet that needs it, and not just humans, all beings. And then we receive the divine blessings for ourselves. So there's a give and take and a reciprocity. It's not all take. It's give first and then receive, which does lead me into the karma conversation, but I'm going to table that. And that's all about having a kind of an advanced knowledge of creating as much good karma for yourself as you possibly can. So if you're doing this type of energy work that I'm talking about here, you are thus what you give out, you receive tenfold. So you want to receive, you want to be creating good karma. You want to be doing things that create and bring in positive to you, not negative. And so by doing this type of divine service work that I'm talking about here, you are blessing and bringing in and channeling in blessings from source and from the angelic kingdoms and soothing Reiki energy, or however you want to do it, to all of these beings. You can include humans in your areas too if you want. It doesn't really matter, but really these other beings need it just as much. And you're helping many, many beings, which in turn then comes back to you like tenfold. You get this energy back. So that's also something you can do to play with this, is what I've noticed. And I'm not always talking about you're going to get money, okay? I'm talking about abundance and prosperity in all its forms. So let's say you do some channeling. So what I've noticed, my experiment, you can experiment with this too, is I'll do my meditation. It's the same type of meditation every day, which is fine with me. I don't care, because I understand the deeper underlying meaning. And it's not boring, because I understand energetically, like, hey, I'm channeling a bunch of energy to the Gaia, to nature beings, to the planet, to human beings. Yes, I'm creating like a super big karmic I don't know what you want to call it, like energy channel, right? And then I receive. But what I've also noticed, receiving meaning I get to sit in stillness and peace and calm and silence, and the same spiritual energy that I'm sending out to bless all these other places and beings and the planet it's channeling through me. So I'm already, by, I guess, osmosis or whatever that's called, I'm already receiving the same blessings. But what I have noticed when those meditations complete is usually Spirit has something fun waiting for me. Like there's a reading I need to hear. One of my favorite YouTubers posted something really good. Or there's just, it's a really great day. There's something fun how it comes into my mailbox. There's a letter in your mailbox. This is George Carlin. So pay attention to how energy comes back to you in a reciprocal way. It's like I said, it's not always, start to like detach from the fact that it always has to be a monetary thing, and pay attention to all the other ways that abundance is gracing your life, that has to do with good karma and positive vibes and all of that. So because we're at the 30-minute, yes, right at the 30-minute mark, which is what I said I wanted to be at. Gosh, you guys are good. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to table the other topic because I could probably spend just as, probably maybe even longer on it. And I invite you to practice these concepts. You may have to listen to it a couple of times and then just work it into your day a little bit. Like maybe I just leave a spirit plate. Maybe I do a special meditation once a week or at the full moon, or I would do it more often, but not just the full moon, but, I would work a little bit into my day or something, like channel it. It only takes a few minutes. When you're invoking prayers for somebody else, or when you're doing healing for somebody else, just include these other dudes in there, like the nature Devas and my local weather spirits, because the weather is a big one, and catastrophic and cataclysmic weather and weather events and earthquakes and all of that. They keep calling them dudes. These dudes need they need the same chill and peace and calm. They need the benefits of that just like we do. So if you're not sure what to do, ask your guides to help you find a little practice that is meaningful to you, because it has to be meaningful to you, and you're not going to follow through on it. But pay attention as you do it to what starts happening around you. Does the weather get better? Do the people seem more calm and peaceful? More happy. I will say that where I live, I just have to say this, because Spirit brought me here. This is not a place I would have chosen on my own, but they brought me to the most amazing town. I would have to say, if I had to be someplace I really didn't want to be, this town is really, albeit for the winter weather, everything else about it is like perfection. But since the winter lasts like 6 months out of the year, it's like, don't really want to be here for that. But I've noticed in my town, so we're going to close on this. You can only go 25 miles per hour through the whole town, right? And it's a pretty good mix of younger families and older, really old and retired people and retired professionals. But you can only go 25. So that's right there. It's just so peaceful. There's just a few lights. There's 6,000 people in this town. And it spreads out over, I don't know what the radius is. Maybe a 5-mile radius, 5-mile radius or so. But it's got all the it's got everything except a big box store, but that's another story. Anyway, but when you're driving, here's another thing I have not noticed anywhere else I've ever lived, and I mainly lived in big cities. Maybe that's why. Maybe this is a small town thing. But when I'm driving, everybody waves from their car. Everybody, I would say 75% of the people give, hands on the steering wheel. You pass by in the car, or they're walking and they give you a wave. They give you a little hands up on the steering wheel, or the person walking kind of throws their hand out in a wave. Everybody waves. It's super high vibe. And I noticed when I first moved here that when I looked at the city directory, there was 10 to 15 churches for this 6,000 people town. And I'm okay, so this is a very high vibe location. It's very sacred land. It was very blessed by the indigenous tribes that lived here before. Hence the huge medicine wheel that sits right behind my house up the trail. So pay attention to the space around you as you start doing this energy work. Do businesses start changing and becoming more high vibe? Do the people's temperament that you just encounter, does it start to become different? Like, work with your town. Expand this out just so much from you, because I feel like if you're an advanced practitioner, you at this point have done a lot of spiritual work on yourself, and it's not so much just about you anymore, right? Like, you get it. You understand why you're here. You're here to do divine service, and this is just some fun kind of alternative ways to look at it. From this is like how I live my life. This is like my everyday. So I'm just giving you a little peek into how we operate here at TLC for the Soul. And if that speaks to you, I hope you'll come back for more. I hope you'll try and play with these concepts and see how they work for you as experiments. Not me just saying like, trust me and take my word for it and do it. Like, do it as an experiment and see what starts happening. Now, it's not going to happen like immediately, okay? Like, your whole town's not going to like turn around immediately, but give it like, okay, what do you guys say? They're saying like, give it like 3 months and start to pay attention to what starts happening around you. And then see the benefits that have come to you also as a result of doing this work. So that is all we have to share on this topic. It was super fun. I hope you stayed with me to the end, and I'm glad that you're here with us. I hope you vibe with our tribe. And if you do and you want more of this juicy, exciting content, hit the follow or the like or the subscribe or whatever so you're notified. Follow me on some of these other places for the daily shorts. Check out my books. I do also design tarot decks, some tarot and oracle decks. Links to everything are always in all the show notes. And I want to thank you so much for being here. Take care, and we will see you again soon.